hitting one of the men in the hallway in both legs, dropping him into the entryway. Dom then shot the wounded man in the face with his last bullet. "Reloading!" he shouted to Chavez. Ding stepped over him, leaned around the corner toward the entryway, and fired 4.6mm rounds at the opposing force. 3 of his bullets tore through the face and throat of the terrorist on the floor of the entryway, sending the man tumbling backward and causing arterial blood to jet into the air like a sprinkler. There was one more tango, but he was out in the hall. Chavez couldn't hit him unless the man stuck his head back into the doorway. Dom had reloaded, and he covered the entryway while Chavez took a moment to put a fresh magazine into the grip of his weapon. As Chavez worked his HK's action to chamber another round, he spoke through his headset. "There's one out there with you, John." "John?"
Turn right
did not
on
answer
Brickhill
Chavez,
Road.
careful not to make a sound as he peered around the open door of the elevator car. He looked down the hallway toward the source of all the gunfire. Still in a low crouch, he held his Sig Sauer pistol at the end of his extended arms at eye level. Other than 2 dead bodies half in and half out of room 301, the hallway was empty. Where the fuck did the last guy go? The door to the suite immediately on Clark's right opened, and an Asian man peered out. Clark swiveled his weapon toward the movement, but he recognized quickly this was no threat. He took his left hand off his pistol to motion for the guest to go back inside and shut the door, and the Asian man was all too happy to comply with his request. But when John turned his attention back to the hall in front of him, he did see movement, and it came from a
Arriving
doorway
at
on the left, on
140
the opposite
Brickhill
side,
Road,
and just
on the
closer
right.
to the DCRI's room. The door was open, and a blonde-haired woman stepped out slowly. The forearm of a man was wrapped tightly around her neck. She came all the way into the hallway now, and she was not alone. Holding her from behind was Abdul bin Muhammad al-Qahtani, operational commander of the Umayyad Revolutionary Council. He held a black Scorpion machine pistol in his right hand, and the tip of his barrel was pressed tight under the woman's chin. The lady was in her 50s. Clark guessed she might have been Swedish, but he had no way to know for sure. She sobbed, and mascara dripped down her cheeks as she slammed her eyes shut. Clark stepped out into the hallway fully now, keeping his weapon pointed at the threat ahead of him, and his eyes on his target through his notch and post sights. Calmly, he spoke softly into his earpiece microphone. "Stay in the room and get ready to leave. I'll be right there." "Roger that," said Dominic. The blonde woman's eyes opened now. Black tears drained down her cheeks. She blinked away the wetness and saw the armed man in the hallway 20 feet ahead. Her eyes went wide and her pink face reddened even more. For his part, al-Qahtani looked a little more relaxed than his hostage, but not much. He shouted in Arabic, "Stay back or I will kill her!" He took a single step backward, pulling the blonde with him. "Of course," replied Clark in Arabic, surprising al-Qahtani by speaking his native tongue. "I will stay back. What do you want?" The Arab did not answer. He just stared at the figure with the distorted face in amazement. Who was this man? How did he get here? Was he with the others, the ones who just killed all his men and thwarted his operation? "I'm listening," Clark said calmly. "I am listening to you, friend. Just tell me your demands, and please do not hurt the woman." He kept the weapon trained on the URC commander while he spoke. Al-Qahtani recovered a little more as he realized he retained some control over this situation. He pulled the blonde tighter to him with his forearm. By this action, he literally pinned their faces together, cheek to cheek. He kept the machine pistol pressed tight under her chin. He did not know who this man was, but he spoke as if his main